Hello and welcome to my live chat. Sorry the lighting's not particularly great in here. I'm in my studio and the light's not particularly great, so I do apologise. So welcome to the Elegant Rose Cake Studio. It's good to have you here on the Virtual Wedding Hub. I hope you've had lots of information from the weekend and you've got lots of ideas and tips for your wedding. So yeah, I am the Elegant Rose Cake Studio. I make wedding cakes, as you can see from the cakes behind me. I have been in business for 10 years now. Originally started off in Bedfordshire and relocated up to Peterborough 4 years ago. And the wedding cakes slowly took over. So my design is less is more. So as you can see from the designs behind me, I like to keep them simple, elegant and very pretty. So as you can see from the one on my left, terrible with those. This one's got edible lace on it. You can't actually see the pattern, but it's actually little birds. And the edible lace is the top and the bottom tier. And as I say, being edible, you don't have to bother taking it off. You can literally eat it. It's like a marshmallow taste, so it's absolutely fine to eat. And then you've got some cascading roses. Roses are my signature flower, hence the name Elegant Rose. So they are my signature flower, which you'll find on a lot of my wedding cakes. So this has got some cascading roses down the front, and then on the top you've got a cluster of roses on the top. The one next to it, this is a very simple one. This is called a magnolia flower. I only recently learned to make these at the beginning of the year and absolutely love making it. Find it very therapeutic to make the wedding cakes and the flowers. So this one was absolutely fantastic. It's all individually wired as well. All the flowers, all the petals and the leaves are all individually wired. And these can be absolutely any colour that you like. You can have them realistic, or if you wanted a pop of colour, you can have a bright pink, bright purple. Pretty much the world is your oyster, as you say. And then you've got the green foliage that goes with it. And this one directly behind me is a 4-tier marble cake. Now the marble seems to be very popular at the moment. This is a very understated marble. You can have different colours as well. The good thing about my workshop is you guys will come here to my workshop so we can play with different colours. This is like a grey white and that works really well. Then you've got a plain tier, then it goes up to a nice sparkly tier, and then obviously another plain tier. And again, you've got the roses on it to give it that pretty effect. This one over here is another 3-tier. So the middle tier, which you can't quite see here, is actually a sparkle tier. So it's done with the crushed sugar and it gives you the actual sparkle effect. Again, it's still edible. And then you've got the pretty little lovebirds on top, and they are wooden, so that's a great keepsake. You can keep in your wedding box, because I know a lot of couples tend to have wedding boxes from all the mementos from the wedding day. So that's a good thing that you can put in it. Also, I should mention with the sugar flowers, is that because they are sugar flowers, although they are edible, they dry absolutely rock hard. A lot of my couples tend to take them off of the cakes and keep them because they're not going to wilt, they're not going to decolour, and it, again, it's a nice memento. You can put it in your box. I'd say wrap it up in bubble wrap and then go straight in your memento box, and you've got to keep that for years to come. Then the one on the end, very biased, this is my absolute favourite. Let me turn that slightly so you can see it. So this is my absolute favourite. I absolutely love doing this. So we've got all of these flowers are wired. So the buds, the roses, the leaves, everything is wired individually. And you've got the 4 tiers, and then you've got a beautiful satin ribbon around the base. Again, any of these cakes that are behind me can be absolutely any colour, any design. These are really just to give you an idea and a starting point. So you might like the flowers from one, the sparkle from another, the ribbon from another, and you put it together to make your individual cake. So as I said earlier, I am based in Peterborough. I cover Peterborough, Cambridgeshire, parts of Lincolnshire and Rutland. So I tend to cover up to an hour radius within the cake price. Anything further than that is then just petrol. So delivery and setup, you don't have to worry about. Wouldn't want you to come and collect your own cake on the day, although I have been asked that. But no, delivery and setup is all included. So all you've got to do on the day is cut it and eat it. So I thought I'd give you a few tips about what you can do on your wedding day. So let me get those. If I can find those, she says. Here we go. So do you have to have the same flavour on your cake? No, you absolutely don't. Each of my cakes are individual tiers, so you can effectively have 4 or 5 different flavoured tiers depending on how many cake tiers you go for. My signature flavours are vanilla, lemon, red velvet, chocolate and carrot cake. Now the carrot cake is a good option, so if you wanted, some of you guessed like the fruit cake, but not everybody likes that anymore. It's not a popular choice anymore, so the carrot cake's a good option that you can choose instead of fruit cake. So it still gives you that sort of like a savoury-ish with the carrot cake, but it sort of appeases a few of the people that would perhaps like fruit cake and you don't want to give them fruit cake. So with my carrot cake, I do actually do an orange buttercream. I tend to find that this brings out all the spices and the flavours, and they're absolutely fantastic. Now underneath the fondant, you'll also find a white chocolate ganache. This gives it the luxury taste and feel as well, and it also gives you the nice smooth finish that you'll see, so that your cakes will be absolutely beautifully smooth, and then when you cut into them, you'll see the ganache underneath. So do you do dietary requirements? I do, but I only do gluten-free. Unfortunately, I haven't actually found a dairy-free or a vegan alternative that I'm absolutely happy with. I'm still dabbling, so you never know, in the future there might be a flavour to come that's a design to come that's in vegan or dairy-free. So as I said earlier, delivery and setup is included in the price, so we literally deliver it to your venue. I tend to take my cakes individually, the tiers individual, and give myself more time at the venue. My worst nightmare would be your cake ending up in the back of my car, absolutely destroyed. So I take every tier individual, all the flowers individual, and I give myself enough time at the venue to put it all together and make sure that it's absolutely 100% pretty and perfect. I always take a picture of the finished design as well, so that you can see what it was like, and that gives me peace of mind as well, so that I know that it's absolutely beautiful and ready to go for when you see it. Can I have fresh flowers on my cake? You certainly can. You need to check with your florist, and the florist, obviously, they use the grower, that they don't use pesticides, because some flowers are actually poisonous, and you need to make sure that everybody is safe and absolutely fine. So check with your florist. With regards to putting the flowers on the cake, all I'd ask is that you give me the details of your florist, and then I can liaise with them and we can work out what's going to happen on the day. Hi to the 5 people watching. Do drop a comment to say hello and let me know what you're up to. So, do you have a cake stand and a knife? I get asked this quite a lot. Now, if you're going for an outside caterer, a lot of them don't have the stands or the knives, whereas the big hotels do tend to have their own stands and knives. Actually, a venue in Peterborough that actually does a personalised cake knife with their names and dates on it, which I think is a beautiful special touch. But I can supply the cake stands. Obviously, the knives I don't have at all. So unfortunately, that'd be something you'd have to source yourself if your caterers don't, or the venue don't offer it. The cake stands that you see behind me are the pedestal stands, so these are the ones that I can hire out. I don't charge a higher price. All I charge is the cost of what it would cost me to replace the stand, and obviously as soon as you return that to me, you'd get that back. So if you preferred the pedestal stands rather than the stands that you have at the venues, then that's not a problem at all. I can supply those. Do you do favours? Yes, I do. I've got a few down here for you to have a look at as well. So we do macarons. Macaroons, I never know how to pronounce these, macarons. So these little macarons can be any flavour. You can go from 1 to 2 to 3. I tend to say 1 or 2 is plenty, because they're a lot more expensive flavours than a cookie, because they're a lot more intricate to make. Now the thing with macarons is that they are a standard flavour. It's almond and meringue. The actual flavour comes from the filling, so it's buttercream that's in the middle, so this can be absolutely any flavour that you want. So if you wanted to complement one of your cake tiers, that can be done as well. Another alternative that we do are the sugar cookies. So I'm not sure if you can see on there. Yes, you can. You can see that this has got their couple's names and their dates on. So this can be a sugar cookie with the fondant over the top, and again, the fondant can be corresponded with your wedding colours. So for example, if you're having a blush wedding or you just want white, that can be done, and obviously then your names and dates stamped over the top. Corresponding ribbon as well. We do little cards as well that will go on here, and the little cards can act as a favour, as a place setting as well as a favour. So you're doing 2 birds with 1 stone. Or you can just have your names and dates. It's entirely up to you. So that's one design. You can go and have your guest's name on the cookie instead. So rather than a place setting card, have the names on. Or you can just go for a simple one with the bride and groom. You don't necessarily have to have these for your whole party. You can actually have these just for yourselves or your top table, for example, just as a special something on the day. So the flavours range from £1.75 upwards. Obviously the macaroons are more expensive than the sugar cookies, but macaroons do give a very lovely statement. How much cake would I need? Now I get asked this quite a lot. So basically we go on rough numbers. Obviously the more you have sorted out for your day, the more you're going to know what numbers you have and who you've got coming to your day. So basically for the cake consultation, I ask a rough number. So say you've got 100 guests coming. So I tend to cater for 80% of people, because you've got to think your day guests have had a 3-course meal, your evening guests are coming for a drink, so you don't want to cater for everybody because you will have a lot of cake left over. Now for some people they're absolutely fine with that and quite happy to take cake home with them. I myself would be one of those people. So whereas others don't want the wastage. So what I tend to say is if you're having 100 people, you cater for 70 to 80 people. Now the 3-tier cakes behind me, so for example the 3-tier here and the 3-tier here, that will feed anywhere between 70 to 100 people. Some venues are very generous with their slices, so you'll go less, whereas other venues are very hi Lisa, she's just always, she's watching, one of my fellow cake buddies. So yeah, some venues are very generous with their slices and others are a bit more stingy, so you will get more out of them. But generally a 3-tier cake like these ones here will give you 70 to 100. Then the 4-tier cakes can feed anywhere up to sort of 120, 130. So really have a think about your numbers, think about what you need, and don't have extra cake if you don't need it. There's no point in paying for the extra tier if you don't need it, unless you want extra cake. Now, if you did like the look of a 4 or 5-tier cake, then you could think about something like a dummy tier. So when I say a dummy tier, it's a polystyrene tier basically. So although you've not got the baking, you've still got everything on top of that as well. So it doesn't adjust the cost very much, but it does take it down slightly. So you can still have the effect of a beautiful 4 or 5-tier cake, but obviously not all the cake to waste. So we've done numbers for consultation and dummy tiers. How far in advance can I book? Well, that is how long is a piece of string. Some of my couples will book 2 years in advance and some of my couples will book 6 months in advance. It really depends on what availability I've got, and it also depends on your cake maker. If you found a cake maker you like, book them straight away. They'll only ask for a small deposit, and that books for somebody in that you really like. If you like their work and you really want them to do it, it seems silly to wait. So if you know who you want, book them in. I myself take a £75 deposit, and that deposit is then taken off of your cake at the end. So if you have a £375 cake, you then take the 75 off and you're left with £300 balance. So yeah, how far in advance? Obviously with the current climate at the moment, a lot of my 2020 brides have now booked over for 2021. Some of them have gone to 2022. So next year's diary is getting booked up very quickly. I myself only do 1 to 2 weddings a week because I don't want to overbook myself and churn out the cakes. My cakes are my passion, and I want to keep it that way. So I tend to do 1 or 2 a week so that I can focus wholly on your cake. So for me, if you knew that you wanted me to book your cake, get in contact. We'll arrange a consultation, get it booked in. You've not got anything to worry about, then you can forget about it until 8 weeks before the wedding. Are you registered in food hygiene? So this is something you must check with your cake person, whoever you go with, that they are registered with their local council. So it's the Environmental Health Office. So they'll have the Environmental Health Officer will come out to assess where they work, assess their working practices, and they'll give you a rating. I myself have a 5-star rating, which I'm very proud of. And I also have a level 2 on food hygiene. So we have to renew that every 3 years. So that's something I would say any cake maker that you go to, ask that they've got it, and ask to see it as well, because you never know. Do you offer tastings? So I do. Cake consultations with me are at my studio in Peterborough. So you'd come to me, you'd get to taste 5 of my 5 flavours, which again are vanilla, lemon, red velvet, carrot cake and chocolate. So you'd get to try all 5 of those. You get a sneaky glass of Prosecco if you want it. And we would chat through cake, we'd chat through designs. I'd have my portfolio for you to have a look at of all the previous cakes I've done. And then we can sit and design up a cake of your dreams, basically. So as I said before, you can take a rose from one, you can take a ribbon from another, a lace from another, and you then make it your individual cake. The consultations last anywhere from half an hour to 45 minutes. Obviously, there is no time limit on there. If we chat for an hour and a half, we chat for an hour and a half. It does not matter. I like to get to know my couples as much as possible so then I can get their ideas down on paper and make their cake for them. Another question I get asked is buttercream or fondant. So the easy answer is I do both. The harder answer is you need to check with your venue. If you're having a marquee in August, you can guarantee that day would be the hottest day of the year, and your cake would melt, because buttercream is holy butter and icing sugar. So, you know, what I tend to say, if you want a buttercream cake and you want the effect of a buttercream cake, just check with your venue. Has it got air conditioning? Absolutely fantastic. Go for it. Have a buttercream cake. If it hasn't, I'd just be wary of the time of year that you're getting married, because obviously you don't want to be left with a lot of cake. So, or you can go for the other alternative, which is the fondant. So as I said before, all of my cakes have the sponge, 3 tiers of cake in there, in each individual tier, 3 layers. You've got the buttercream, then you've got the white chocolate ganache, and you've got the fondant over the top. It secures the cake in, it keeps it moist, and it gives you, it will last longer basically, because a lot of venues like their cakes set up on the day, and had them there early as well, so they're set up before anything gets going, which is fair enough. So having the fondant over the top just gives them that bit of protection and keeps them nice and moist for the whole day. So that is pretty much me. As I said, I'm based in Peterborough. I do cover the Lincolnshire, Cambridgeshire, Rutland, Peterborough area. I cover within an hour. Any further than that, I do cover. I would just ask for petrol. If you'd like to have a look at more of my work, my website is www.theelegantrosecakestudio.co.uk. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I've just set that up as well, so you can have a look at my work all over. And if you see a design that you like and you'd like to ask any questions, then do get in contact. My email address is info@theelegantrosecakestudio.co.uk, and my telephone number is on the website as well. So if you just wanted to get in contact, you can. So I hope you've enjoyed this little bit of an insight into my cake life. If you did want to chat with me further, I do have a Zoom chat going on at 12:30 for half an hour, where you can pop in there and have a chat with me face to face about any ideas you've got, any questions you've got, and we can go from there. So thank you for joining me, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.